Hi everyone, this is your host Ernie signing in, and welcome to It Only Happens to Ernie podcast. And we're live. Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. So listen, I know last week episode I have mentioned towards the end that I'm going to be doing this episode about my mom. Clearly by the title of this episode, it is not going to be about my mom. I'm going to be honest with you, I have been trying to record it and delete it and record it again and delete the whole thing, and it's just not working. And the process of re-recording is not new, but this particular week, it has been more frustrating to me than I expected, because it's not that I don't have anything to say about my mom. I think it's actually quite the opposite. I think I have too much to say about her. And I feel like none of it was coming out the way I wanted to. It just felt messy and unstructured and just not like how I want it to be at all. It just didn't feel right. Something just didn't feel right. I just stopped mid-track recording, went to Steven, my husband, and I said, "Babe, it's not working." He's like, "What's wrong? Like, what's going on? Why is it not working?" And I said, "I feel like telling a story that isn't mine. Like, it doesn't feel right. Something's off." And he said something to me that it's just a reminder more than anything, but he said to me, "Well, honey, you have to tell a story that is from your perspective." And I love my husband. He's just such an amazing, supportive person. But he's so right. Like, the entire time I was trying to tell my mom's story, and I was just telling, pretty much saying, like, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what like somebody has done to her, and like this stuff. And it turned into this something that I didn't want it to be, which is talking about another person's story that isn't my point of view. Like, the entire point of this is to give you a story that maybe isn't mine, but also is relate to my life and how it came to be about my life and how it affected my life and what I've learned from it and what I've gained from it. And so that's kind of like the takeaway from this podcast as well, is that, it has to be coming from your perspective, from your story. And I am not here to tell my mom's story in the way that is like about her entire life, because I think that's what I was trying to do, and that's why it didn't feel right to me. I am not here to talk about every little details about her and every event that had happened to her, although obviously a lot of that has to do with who she became, and I will be talking about some of the big keys, but it just turned into this thing I just wasn't really proud of. The message of the entire link of the episode that I was trying to do, it didn't translate the way I wanted to. And I think part of it too, if I'm being real here, my headspace just isn't in the right place this week. So 2 weeks ago, I mentioned in my dad's episode that my mom and my cousins are coming to visit from California. My mom is still here. My cousin went back last week, but I just was busy with that, like taking them to places. We were just out and about all the time. And honestly, there's just been a lot going on with school. I haven't really specifically talked about it on here yet, but I have been questioning a lot with obviously what I want to do with my life. But just talking about school, I don't know if I want to keep going down on this IT path or if I want to pivot into something else. For the past few years, I have been struggling a lot with my career path. I just been really unhappy with it. I work in a lab and I'm not happy in it at all. I'm actually quite miserable and I have been trying to change it for over a year now. I thought branching out into IT would be a good idea. And, I really try to give it a fair shot for the past year, apply to jobs and stuff. But I've just had no luck with it. I connected to someone recently the past week, and it sort of gave me a lot of clarity on how I want to move forward with this IT stuff. As much as I want to keep trying, I also am a realistic person. I don't have a lot of time or money to keep pouring into something that I'm not sure if it's going to work out in the end. And, I rather bet on myself than betting on something that I can't for sure know if it's going to guarantee me that spot. You know what I mean? So I'm now at the point where I'm trying to pivot again. It's gonna sound so crazy. But I also feel like this is kind of the whole point of your 20s, right? I mean, I don't have any kids yet. It's just me and my husband and our two cats at the moment. So if there's ever a time in my life where I can pivot just as many times as I needed to, figure things out and taking those risks, I think it's now. But at the same time, it's obviously so stressful. Like it takes a lot of mental toll on you. And I think a lot of that has just been sitting in the back of my mind while I've been trying to show up and create something meaningful for this podcast. Trying to sit down and record an episode about my mom, which is something that truly actually matters to me, while feeling this uncertain and, distracted. It just wasn't working. And what's been getting to me this week is realizing I don't want to put anything out that I don't feel good about. Like last week, even that felt a little bit off to me, and it didn't really perform the way I hoped either, which didn't help. So now I'm just sitting here like, am I really going to put out another episode just the sake of saying I post this week? And the answer is no. I don't want this podcast to turn into something where I'm just talking about and yapping and just filling space. There's a lot of contents out there and I want my content to be meaningful. I want this to actually mean something, even if it's messy, even if it's like emotional, but at least if it's real. And right now, the episode about my mom, it deserved way more than me just rushing, trying to get it out just to hit the deadline. And so I am not posting that episode this week. I'm going to take a step back, rewrite, and come back when it feels right with that because I want that episode to be something I'm proud of. I'm extremely proud of my mom, so I wouldn't do her any justice by putting something that doesn't make me feel good, that I'm not proud of. So yeah, this episode is just kind of like a little life update, so to say. I have felt a little unmotivated this week, like a little stuck, a little unsure, not just with this podcast, but with my career, with school, and what direction I want to go in. But I also know like I care a lot about this podcast, and I would rather take a step back and come back with something that actually feels more like me than just rushing on something I don't really believed in. And so if you're listening to this, thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for being here. Next week, hopefully, you'll get the episode that you truly deserve and that my mom truly deserve, and the one I actually want to make. And if you're still listening to this, I just want to say, if nobody has said it to you yet today, thank you for being you. I'll talk to you guys next week. And that's a wrap on this episode of It Only Happens to Ernie podcast. This is your host, Ernie, signing out.